new. We're new. We don't know what we're doing. Hello, everybody. Hey, we're back.
We are.
Again, it is May 21st already. What?
Oh, man, it is. This month is almost over.
I know. It's almost Memorial Weekend. Have you noticed all the cars going by with
Boats,
campers and
Harleys, everybody heading
and
up north.
Everybody's taking their toys and getting out of town.
Yep.
So we've got Greg. Greg's joining us.
Yes, he is.
Oh, look at him. He's all smiles. Woo.
He's ready to go. Hello.
All right.
Andrew.
Look at, he's pretty excited. Hold on a second, Greg. We'll bring you in just 1 minute.
Just 1 second here. So, yeah, so we left off yesterday and we talked, when we were talking, and we said, we're going to talk about choice. And this happens to be one of my favorite things to talk about, because literally wherever you are at in life today, right now, is because of the choices you made. Nobody can see what Greg is doing, but I can see what Greg is doing.
Oh, he's going to be fun to get out here with us.
So think about that. Everything you currently have in life today is because of the choices that you've made. So you have nobody to blame but the person you look at in the mirror every single morning.
Yeah, you create your reality every single day with your thoughts, with things that have happened in the past. And sometimes
choices you've made.
Sometimes we don't always learn from our mistakes because we're supposed to be making them, right?
But that's where the life of hard knocks, I mean, that's where we came from. Did you learn everything right away? I know I didn't.
No, I didn't.
I still drank that protein powder and still farted in front of me. For those of you that weren't on with that story, you're probably going, what the hell is this?
I guess you'll have to look back. You'll have to look back and find it.
Story time.
It's story time.
That's where it is.
We're going to have those every week, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So Greg he didn't know what our topic was going to be today until we came up with it.
Choice.
And so he has boldly asked to come on with us on Own Your Life and talk about whatever we decided to do.
That's awesome.
I wish you could see him on the backside. It was really funny, actually.
We'll see if he acts the same way live.
So, is he drinking soda?
I don't know what he's drinking.
Right.
We probably should have asked. Bud Light, that's what he's drinking.
Never mind. The mystery has been solved.
And it's not even a Friday show. What the hell?
It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and
Somebody's starting early.
His choice is Bud Light. So we'll forgive him for that.
Yep, that's good.
Bud Light is so yesterday. Sorry, Greg. Unless that's the only thing in the cooler. Uh-oh. He gave us hold on a second.
Shouldn't have asked.
What else is in the cooler?
All right. Mountain Dew for sure for Mr. Andrew Little. What do you drink? 3 cases a day?
He's got the Corona. Oh boy. Okay.
And how many of those do you have? 19?
Right. Yep. 19, get it?
That was bad.
Oh yeah, all right, Greg, you ready to come on here with us?
Put him in.
Whether
he's ready or not, he's coming. Oh, there he is.
Hello. Here we go. We're gonna play Brave Enough. Ah, look at that. Let's try this.
Ooh,
look.
There he is.
Put his name on there. He's so good.
I know how to roll. So what's up, guys? What's new and exciting?
What's going on with you?
Well, another day in Wisconsin. Got an echo. Okay, it's gone. Good. So so thanks for the invite. This is fantastic. And the topic today is choice, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming on with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are our first
guest.
Well, I do feel honored, actually. So thank you very much. Thank you
for being on here. Thanks for being our guinea pig.
So why don't you just give us your view on choice and your feelings on it, your views on it, and how you relate it to life for you.
Sure. I do understand the topic is not story time, so I'm going to keep it very focused on choice and choice only. Ultimately, yes, I agree that there is a full array in life. Life happens to be full of them every single day. And you get to choose whether or not you're going to pursue something or not. A non-choice is even a choice in itself. That's kind of my viewpoint on it. And yes, it does. Choices of yesterday impact today, but the choices of today kind of mean a little bit more than they do yesterday because yesterday's gone. So I view that as if you want to achieve something, you need to make the choices that help you get there. So that's how I live a little bit. We all have times where we don't want to make any choices, but like I said before, that is a choice in itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. A non-choice is definitely a choice within itself, or choose not to make a choice is definitely there's when you really think about it, there's nothing that you're going to do in a day that doesn't require a choice of some sort. Nothing.
Some are conscious and some are subconscious.
Yeah. And we've talked about the autopilot, and the autopilot is that subconscious where choices are being made because it's just an automatic thing, which is where people get themselves in trouble, which often you can relate back to certain environments and certain conditioning where it's just an automatic, like, hey, how's it going? Well, I'm above ground.
Yeah.
The reason you chose to say that is because it's a common thing. You always say it when somebody asks you.
I'm not
ask me how I'm doing. You better have like 3 hours ready to go.
At least 30 minutes to like hold still.
We're coming.
We're bringing it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, that's kind of the way I view choice. It's so powerful.
Yeah.
And it's free will. That's the one thing the Almighty upstairs gave us was the power of free will.
And with the choice can come a whole bunch of things, right? Emotions, you can get fear, you can get all of the things. And we are the only thing on this planet that actually sits in thought or has worry or fear like that. You don't see birds sitting on the fence hoping and wondering they get to eat that day. It's just, they just go do. That's just what their job is. They go eat, they do what they need to do. So that is not really necessarily their choice, but they don't have the feelings to sit back and wonder or worry or, fret about things like that. So we do.
Every choice has a consequence.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's either good consequence or not good. And with the children, that's part of my speech to them nearly every day, at least it feels like it, is that they have choices. They have choices to do their homework, not do their homework, but as an example, and those choices have consequences, good and bad. So yeah, it's a pretty neat thing. It helps determine what happens next. It's pretty amazing the influence and impact it can have on everybody around you too. Especially if you're choosing to do good stuff, that ripples around your circle of friends and family. It's pretty fun to watch that.
It's also a choice to do bad stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that.
Some of it is conscious, some of it isn't.
Correct.
But it's still a choice.
Comes from conditioning, comes from environment, comes from a lot of different things. So I think once people realize how truly powerful choice is, you really got to embrace it.
So on this, I see that in front of you.
What were you going to say?
Oh, in front of your names, I see the word coach. Okay, so I have a question for the coaches. how is it when you're engaging with somebody, you help them define their choices or help guide them to better ones that are in line with the outcomes that they're seeking?
That's a really good question. And for me, how that happens is obviously it's how good of the questions that I ask of that person. And then through active listening, which we've talked about, I can pick up on patterns of how they answer. And then we talk about where they want to be, goals. So if you have goals that you want to accomplish or things you want to accomplish in a day, and you're not accomplishing those things, you have to sit back and you can ask yourself questions too. So your brain is automatically going to answer a question, period. That's what it's designed to do. So if you want a really good answer, you're going to have to ask really good questions. And then through self-awareness, if you are holding yourself accountable and you're being 100% honest with yourself, though you should be able to say, well, I made poor choices today, and that's why I didn't accomplish the goals I made. And as coaches, being outside and not in it, it's easier for us to often see the pattern of choices being made. And then our job is to break that pattern, make people aware of the pattern that's happening, and help them condition new behavior, which leads to better choices, which leads to much more productivity, getting the goals, or having better relationships, or having better conversations, not having the confrontations that they may have. So it's really just breaking that pattern and really getting back to that blueprint and that map that we talk about a lot.
Yeah. Part of the reason why I brought that question up is, I don't know if you're anything like me, you come across people that in your own opinion, they could be making different choices. And that's something that I struggle with, is whether or not to engage with people who I believe can make different choices that in my perception would be better, and how that might impact my choices for the outcomes that I'm after during the day. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a struggle for me. Do you guys have that struggle?
Yeah, we do, because you have to be really careful to not make it your opinion, or to put your own views and perspective on what they should be thinking, because now you're going back to, it's Greg's way and you've done it this way, so it should, let me suggest that maybe you do it that way, when really it's not a part of that person's blueprint to do that. So you may be setting them up for failure in different ways because of choices that you're helping to guide, and not really understanding the backstory of that. So that's where we come in with different tools and ways of asking questions that does not necessarily impose our thought on what you're doing. That's why we are active listeners. And it's a technique, and it takes practice, and you have to take yourself out of the equation because they're not on your journey. They're on their own journey. So how do we figure that out without, implying our thoughts onto them? Because we do that with our children. We do that a lot with, they come and ask for advice, right? Our friends call and ask for advice. Family call and ask for advice. Coworkers ask for advice. And you kind of already know the answers. The person that's asking, you kind of already know. You're looking for validation and where you need to go, or what you want to do, or what your thoughts are. You're just looking to know that you're not the only one thinking those things. So, it's a very tight rope to walk when you are the person that doesn't quite have the skill set yet to really ask the questions that gets them going, okay, yeah. Like, the stop, and, when they have that look of, holy crap, that's a really good question. That's when you're starting to get into an area that they have not really looked at before, because we have been there. That's how we came to this. This is all training that we've gone through as the person seeking. the direction. I feel like I want to do this. How do I do it? And so, we take years of these questions that have been asked of us and how we turn that around and apply it so that you can use it. And hopefully that makes you a better person as you go on your journey for the next person that comes along and goes, man, Greg, like you got your shit together. Like, what'd you do? How did you, what about, like, I'm thinking about doing this, that, and the other. And then, you have the confidence enough to know, what, I don't quite have that skill set yet to be able to tell you what I think you want to hear. I don't know that would do you a good service. So let me put you in front of other people that can.
What do you think, Coach Fritz?
Well, a lot of what she said, everything she's saying is exactly, it's all the truth. So, when it comes to dealing with people and talking to people, you have to be, there's ways of doing it, but you have to be non-confrontational. So you have to be really aware of the questions that you're asking and make sure you're asking questions not to pass judgment or not to instill your views or your opinions into the situation. You have to make it a team, or, I found myself in situations like that before. This is what worked for me. And you do it that way. And then that way they don't feel confrontation from you. And then it turns out to be a much better conversation and or relationship. So,
right.
But that comes through self-awareness. Not everybody is going to be that self-aware because we're very opinionated as human beings.
Well, definitely. May I share a story?
Yes. Story
Okay.
time.
Story time. Okay, so check this out. Yesterday it was actually. I have this acquaintance, we'll say, a fairly long-term one. I'm not going to say how long I've known him, but I met him in college. Okay, so he lives in Texas, and he struggles with a medical condition called bipolar, and he's on meds and things like that. He's married, and things aren't going so well for him. So he found a friend online. This friend online has asked him to engage in helping her with some stuff, right? And I don't know about you, but as soon as I heard that, my alarm bell went off, like, whoa, stop the presses, right? Time out, right? So that was kind of the thing. But yes, active listening. So I listened it out. I found out that he believes this person to be in the military, and I'm saying this because it correlates to your lives. Single mom, and was short on money for food. Okay, so he sent her less than $100, which isn't going to break the bank. But the next thing that he says to me is she just now texted me that she's in the hospital. I'm like, oh boy, right? So I use the, from my experience, have you met her? Have you met this person? From my experience, I've heard that this could be an opportunity for people to profit from your emotional state. And I did use the word scam. This could be a scam. So be very careful. And I would not send this person another penny until I physically got to meet this person. So, but moreover, you might want to deal with the other stuff first before doing that. So I guess I did share my opinion, but it wasn't. I just felt really like he needed to know that, yeah. So he took the advice, I think, and we'll see where it goes from there. So that's the story.
It's unfortunate that there's people out there that, they're scammers, but they're really intelligent and they really understand how to play on people's emotions, whether they do it consciously or subconsciously. And, when you come across somebody that isn't all that stable mentally. Unfortunately, these people know exactly how to push the buttons, what to say, and there's so many scams, if you will, out there right now that it's very difficult to navigate through what's real and what isn't at this point, and to have money wired to you to take care of your kids and get food, and then very, very shortly after, all of a sudden you're in the hospital. That is definitely a lot of red flags saying this ain't right. Because then it's just going to be something else and something else and something else, and there's ways of exiting that. To make sure that it's done in a good, safe manner that isn't going to put anybody in any kind of jeopardy. But yeah, to me, based on my experience, there's definitely something that's not correct in that situation.
Yeah, and I think you did great, Greg.
Yeah. You handled that perfect.
You're concerned, but it wasn't, well, you know what I think you should do. It was, okay, let's look at this in a different light. Let's just make sure you're helping to help that person protect themselves. And I would say maybe the next suggestion would be, if this is somebody that he truly wants to help, that is legitimately a veteran, whatever, it's not for us to decide or to judge either way, but there are a lot of organizations that are close that can help. And so, you can get them in contact with them too.
Back to that was a series of choices all in itself. The person who chose to communicate with my friend's reaction to that, and my reaction to what I heard. So one of the things too that I think is really important about choice is the whole theory of options theories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the inherent issues with it that I think about is that I'd say the majority, I wouldn't say all, but I'd say the majority of us may not even understand that there are even nearly infinite numbers of choices that could be made in any given situation. And sometimes
choices right now, even in chatting with us, you're making subconscious, choices. You're choosing to look at me. You're choosing to look away. You're choosing to not drink a beer right now. You're choosing, it comes all the time. You cannot put a number on how many all the time making a choice. It was a choice for me to raise my hands up. It's a choice for us to sit next to each other. It's, there's so many choices. The only one that we're not in charge of right now is our heart beating and our lungs filling up with air, because that's automatic, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I guess that kind of begs the question. On occasion, there might be somebody who wouldn't be necessarily aware of a different option. That and that actually I've discovered in myself slows me down sometimes from making a choice faster. Mm-hmm. That isn't really it's kind of trivial. It's a yes or no. It's not like a maybe, right. It's not like, let's see, let's wait, let's see if there's any other options. When you're at a grocery store and you have maybe a tomato, right? I mean, there's a lot of different tomatoes there, but the one in your hand looks fine. Why put that down to pick up a different one? It was fine. Just move on with life, right? So,
well, you're right. It seems very simple at that, but I mean, you could probably dig into why you put that tomato down and picked up a different tomato, and you can probably trace that back to some behavior that was instilled based on some belief system that has happened. So,
farmers market with my dad.
Farmers market with your dad?
Yeah, that's what
it's true.
I mean, everything that we do today has been instilled in us because of things that have happened to us and moments that have happened in time. We talked, I don't know, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about infants, are just a clean slate. They don't know anything. They're absolutely clean. And then we go through life, and every single moment that we experience and every experience that we have is going into our blueprint on how we're going to function later in life. And obviously, trauma plays a big role in that. And everybody has trauma at some point, at some level. You're going to have things that happen in your life. You're going to have situations that are difficult. It's inevitable. Problems are absolutely inevitable. But how we approach life, are you going to approach life by focusing on problems all the time? Or are you going to focus on the solutions and how can I get creatively get out of this? Or, it's really, we talked about that too, focus.
Yeah.
Wherever you focus, that's where your energy goes.
Ever since you brought up infant, I can't help but think about the choice that I had when I would hear that infant fart. It's like, do I go check the diaper or not? And that was kind of, and they're not necessarily clean when you go there. These infants are clean. They're not.
There's your funny choice for the day.
Well,
Checking the farts.
I mean, we can go through days with a clean diaper, or we can go through days where it's full of shit. So,
Right.
I mean, it happens.
I mean, I can tie anything into life really quick, so.
Oh man. So let me ask you this then, Greg, question asker.
What do you got?
Why did you choose to join us?
Well, you're cool peeps, right? And you swear like sailors. No, I'm kidding.
Bad, yeah. We've actually been pretty mild.
You talk 30 minutes about whether or not it's okay to. Yeah, I mean, that's some cool stuff. I like your topics. They're great. And, to be honest, I'd be open to doing it again. I don't know how you felt, but, it's kind of cool. And yeah, I had no idea what we were going to talk about today, but yeah. I chose to be here.
Aw, I love that. Thank you.
Well,
that was awesome.
We appreciate you being on, but I do have a question for you also.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, what you got?
So, I mean, you told us why you got on and you like the subjects, but let's go deeper.
Bring it.
What is it that through the intrigue that you had with what we come up with and the topics we come up with, what deep down inside of you are you looking to get out of watching these that's going to help you in something that intrigued you to come on and watch all of these? Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense, and I'm gonna do it on like two levels. One, on the surface of it, you make topics fun and a lot lighter, and you talk about things that are somewhat deep, but you make it so that most people can relate to it. So that part I really like, and underneath all of that, I've only gotten to know you since the beginning of COVID. We were doing these lunch things, which I kind of miss a bit, right? But I like this format. It's really good. Your core as individuals is pretty pure. It's your intention to help others is real, and that genuine authenticness comes through in your podcast and your recordings here. They're fantastic, and I think you have a lot to offer people that might be lost, might be wondering what to do next. How these are the things that I have as choices of stuff to do. These are my talents. How do I combine the two? And I think that's where your services would probably come in to help at any level of employee or individual who might not be employed right now. So I think that's That's why. That's the why.
Well,
No, I appreciate that.
Thank
That
you.
was more than what I was expecting. So
yeah, and that was, we made a choice and pivoted from in person because of COVID-19 into immediately turning it and bringing it online. And that was exactly why we did it, is because, if we collectively wouldn't have had the kind of training that we have, where would have we been in that situation if we were still in a JOB trying to figure out how we fit into this, how to maintain some kind of relevance, and not feel completely lost, because we go 100 miles an hour as an employee. We show up for somebody else. Yeah, we're going there to do the job, but we feel responsible to somebody else. So now we're in this weird space like we were 100 years ago when it was up to us to figure it out. It's up to the individual of what choice am I going to make to move forward with this? Am I going to choose to sit in a corner and wait for somebody else, which is what 90% of the population did, because we've never had this happen before. And we've also never had the technology that we have now to be able to shift. So we immediately turned our classroom time into, hey, what do we all do? We like to go to the lunchroom. Okay, why? Just to talk. Okay, well, let's do a lunch. Then it was, let's do a webinar. Well, our webinars were really good, but we wanted the immediate impact, not the recorded, I'm going to post it later.
right.
So we switched gears and went live. Now we're live on YouTube as well. And so, all of these were choices to do to go bigger, better, more. And a lot of it is because of people like you, Greg, that have made comments or asked questions, or, for me to just randomly throw out, maybe we'll have somebody on here. Well, that was a choice. Scary, but why not? Why not have somebody come on here and just be real? We want to be authentic and transparent too. So why not have you on to be that person and ask us the questions right here without a script, without thinking about it? Let's just do it, because you're no different than us.
Well, I have a heartbeat, but yeah, I guess, I'm still human. We're all humans.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're all here together, right?
Well, we appreciate you being here with us,
Yes.
and we'll have to come back on and do this again.
Yes.
Yeah. A surprise topic again. I loved it. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, we just might have to, if we see you on there and you're roasting a beer, and we might just say, hey, Greg, I'm going to send you a link. Go ahead and jump on and join us.
Well, and that's the cool thing about this platform, is we could literally do that at any point in
the
our
broadcast.
discussion.
Yep.
If
Right.
somebody was to raise their hand and say, hey, I've got a question, I want to come on,
We can
we
have you
literally
pop in.
could put people on and we could do that. And the cool thing, like Kim was saying, is this thing is going to continue to evolve into I don't know what.
Mhm.
And that's the exciting thing for us, is it just continues to grow. And we rely on people like yourself, Greg, because you guys, you're the ones feeding this and you're the ones building this.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I hope that we don't end up doing is stereotyping Greg as the bear guy. Okay, I'm not the bear guy. In fact, I've got a whole new other thing at some point when the topic is right to share. You're talking about making business choices.
Mhm.
If that becomes a topic, I'd like to be on.
Yeah.
I've kind of pivoted a bit. I know we're running out of time. I appreciate being here.
Yeah.
It was fun.
Gosh.
Yeah, and actually we will. I would like to do a couple of shows on just entrepreneurship and business owners and company owners and small businesses,
Yeah.
whether it's home-based brick and mortar. I would love to have a conversation, because I know there's people on this that are self-employed or have businesses or are looking at building businesses or something of that nature. So yeah, I would like to have maybe even a week devoted to just business, where we're just talking about, and then we can get some people on.
Hey, Greg, thanks for the idea.
Yeah.
That's what I'm here.
You're not the beer guy. You're the idea guy.
Ideas, yes.
So to leave everybody with one last thought on choice, you know, we covered a lot. Greg took us deeper. He put us on the spot, which I really appreciate because it makes us work even harder. But the thing is that, you know, we're all aware of this now, right? So we talk about the truth setting you free. So there's a certain truth that came forward today about choices and how they impact your life. So now going forward, I challenge everybody to really just slow down in this microwave society we have, take a breath, really think your choices through, and really pay attention to the goals and the things you want to accomplish before you make that choice, because that choice may not get you there and a different choice may. And that's that options things that Greg brought up. So let's do that as a group. Let's just collectively slow down and let's really think about our choices moving forward. And do they really, is it going to help us, or is it going to hurt us, or is it going to leave us kind of stagnant?
Yeah. So if everybody can choose now to give a thumbs up, that'd be great.
It would be, and make sure that you're sharing it.
Yes,
And
please
asking
share.
people to come in and like Own Your Life page so that they can get this information too. So as usual, Greg, thank you so much.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks for coming on.
We love you all.
Thanks for letting us in. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.